All right. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Alaikum assalam.
Alaikum assalam.
I have been looking forward to this show because we're departing from our usual uh, regular politics. This is political in a different kind of way. This is our everyday political. And so before we get started and before I have Brother Fleming open us up, I want to tell everybody, I want you to take a moment and I want you to go get a fork. You're going to need it later on in the show. A fork, just a regular old dinner fork. It's got to be the silver kind of fork, not the little plastic fork. It's got to be a dinner fork, not a salad fork, a dinner fork, the silver dinner fork. I will explain it later. Dinner fork. You see it? You should be able to see it good. Dinner fork. You'll need it later. So grab one and then put it to the side. Got it? If you have it, show it to me. Show me your fork. Show me your fork. Show me your fork. There you go, Latifa. Thank you. Miss
I'm
Latifa.
coming.
There you go, Miss Martha. I see her going to get it, Fleming. You each need one. Tell her to
Uh-oh.
bring one for you. Miss
Maybe that's what-
Cassandra, you each need one. Anybody else? Come on camera real quick. Show me your fork. You each need one.
Yours off, but I have mine.
All right, all right.
Yeah, I have mine also. My camera is not available.
Mm. All right, all right. So, Brother Fleming, you got the fork? There you go. That's real fork. That's good. Okay, so why don't you open this up and then I'll ask us our question of the day, how we usually open up, all right? Wait, so who is iPhone? Someone is on, it just says iPhone. Is that you, Renee?
Sister Umrani, Amatullah.
That's I am.
Oh,
No, someone's just says iPhone only. Okay, I'll find out. I think, no, you know what? They may be my husband, so we'll figure it out. Okay, you ready?
I'll do that.
Yeah,
All right.
he undercover. He a little undercover.
I'll do live in a regime. Brothers and sisters, we're going to open up with a prayer that we're all familiar with this time. A prayer that we learned a long time ago. It was called the Abrahamic prayer. I think it's most appropriate for today's meeting. So please join me in this prayer. We call it dua then. Surely I've turned myself to thee, O Allah. Being upright to he who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer and my sacrifice, my life and my death, are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate I say, and this am I commanded. I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So please grant me protection against all my faults, and none grants protection against faults but thou. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of morals but thou. And turn away from me the evil and indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and indecent morals but thou. And O Allah, make Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, successful. As thou to make Abraham and the followers of Abraham successful, for truly thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. As thou to bless Abraham and the followers of Abraham, for surely thou art praised and magnified. Amen.
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 All right, all right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Buenos dias. Hola. Okay. So as I was saying, there's Sister Amatullah. Let me move her around on my screen so I can see her. Sister Amatullah, let them know they this morning a little different. You need a fork. So make sure you go get your fork, the dinner fork. No, not the little Sally fork. You need a nice dinner fork. I'll tell you about it later. This morning, we always start out with how you doing? How you doing? What you up to? How's your hijab sitting? Your kufi sitting? How your Tim's pinching on that little toe? So this morning, since we're talking about relationships, and we're going to talk about it a little different, and this relationship talk is not your Instagram relationships. So what we've been seeing is that a lot of our comrades in our communities have a different take on relationships. And this Instagram, TikTok, Facebook is not helpful because it's not giving them a real good view of what relationships look like. So I've invited people who've been in relationships for decades and decades and decades who understand what relationships are about. And I've invited my really good friend in the beautiful pink. You see her on the screen, Miss Renee Cage, who's a licensed therapist. She deals in relationships. And my other beautiful friend with the beautiful yellow hijab on, Miss Latifa, Dr. Latifa Amin, and who also deals in relationships. I invited both of them here. So they're going to do the clinical stuff, but we're going to do the real stuff. Mr. Fleming El-Amin, Dr. Cassandra El-Amin, Ms. Martha, Naila, where is she? Ms. Amatullah Alaji-Sabrie, the other Amatullah, and Trustee Smith Foles, and those of us, any other of us who, Miss Jasmine Hall, and many of us who have been married, were married, have been in these long marriages for a long time. And anyone who will see this later to understand what relationships are about, the real relationships are about. Now, so I want to start off with the icebreaker today is a little different. It's how long you been wearing that finger cuff? You got handcuffs. You got finger cuff. I said what I said. Are we recording, Sister Martha? I don't see the recording thing on. Are we live streaming and recording yet? You're on mute.
I apologize. I was so eager to get you on till my mind just went out of the window. So you have to make me host again to do the live streaming.
Okay, let me make you host.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
No, Manira's the host. I'm not the host.
Oh, okay. Manira can do it then.
Manira, you're the host. And then I need to be co-host. Kareem don't need to be co-host. Kareem, why are you co-host? You don't need to be co-host.
I have no idea. I see a slide screen. Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Your phone is sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Meeting
Brother
is
Kareem,
now.
Brother Kareem, your phone sounds like Charlie Brown's teacher right now.
My mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
You sound like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Night. It's yeah, it's probably my internal mic. Thank you. Have it repaired.
Speak a lot of languages, but I don't speak that one. I don't know what you say. You got to, did you change it yet, Miss Manara? Can you make Me, Brother Fleming, and Sister Amatullah. I need to be co-host when you finish. Did she get you? Sister Martha? Manera?
Near's not responding?
No.
Okay, okay. All right, request host to start. Send request.
While she's doing that, this is the question for you. The question is, I want to know how long you had your cuffs on, your finger cuff. That's what I call it. That's what I call it. These are, oh, there we are. There we are. So, Sister Martha, you are the host now. So you can
Okay, we
start the
must be.
recording. You are the host.
Okay, I'll start the recording.
Start the recording on the live stream.
It's saying I'm used up, so somebody else has to start. And I'm going to get out the host seat.
You have your hand up.
So,
Recording. Just gotta record to my computer. Okay, start recording. You are co-host. Fleming, you are co-host. All right, there we go. All right. Now let's record. All right, so let's start. Brother Fleming, Sister Cassandra, how many years? Because I know you got a lot of years. That's why I start with you.
we've actually been married 51 years, and we got to know each other 5 years before that. So we've been together 56 years.
Oh, goody. Goodness. Okay, I was supposed to say, I know that came out, but I meant to say
Yes,
alhamdulillah.
sure you did.
I meant to say alhamdulillah. This that's what
All
I
right,
mean. That's
man.
what I mean.
Uh,
I don't have a good poker face. That's what I meant. That was what I meant to say. Okay, let me try it over. Alhamdulillah.
oh, man.
Oh, Sister Amatullah. How many years?
Yes.
In how many years, ma'am?
42
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
and counting.
And counting. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Ooh, Sister Martha, how many years was it? I know your husband passed away, but how many years?
All right, 38
38.
as of
That's
2020.
so 2020. Those are good years. All right. Let me see. Sister Jasmine, how many years was it?
Why you put me on the spot? It was 3, and that total would have been 40 years.
That's good. Oh, goodness, that's good. See, Brother Kareem. I ask everybody, Sister Jasmine. I love that background jazz. Love it. Brother Kareem. Your turn. How many years? You're on mute, brother.
8 years.
8 years. Gotcha.
8 years.
8 years. Good for you, brother. Sister Manira, how many years? Y'all mute.
Yes, I'm going to need the question again. I got kicked out on my laptop, so I'm on my phone now.
How many years cuffed? That's what I call it.
How many years what?
Cuffed. On the ring, cuffed. We got
Oh,
handcuffs and we got ring cuffs.
alhamdulillah. So that will be 3 years.
3 years. Good for you. Y'all still like each other.
Excuse me.
You still like being around each other. Brother Muhammad.
Excuse me, sister.
Brother Muhammad
I
Sharif.
was, I was married 17 years.
All right, Brother Kareem, that's what we talking about. Brother Muhammad Sharif, what you got for us?
What's the question?
How many years you been cuffed, brother? We
What do
talking
you-
about relationships. How many years?
What do you mean cuff? I don't understand.
Got the ring on the finger, sir.
Oh, for 5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Sister Latifa.
Yeah, eight for me.
8 for you. And my sister Jamila.
We have been together 28 years. We have been married for 19 and a half.
You gotta get the half in there. Them 6
Absolutely.
months.
Every day counts, friend. It's rough.
6 months. Oh, you know I know. I know. Miss Priscilla. Did we lose the other Amatullah? We did. Sister Priscilla?
Yes, ma'am. I'm not married.
Okay. So you the happy one in the group.
Wow.
Could be.
You and Renee. And for me, oh, my husband dropped off. Good, I can talk. Stole all my youth. All of it. 30 years, 32 years. All of it. All of it. All of it. No, my husband said I was a teenager. That's when I met him. All of it's gone. So I asked that question because I want to frame this when I talk to, I'm going to start off with talking to our relationships experts. I have a question before I talk to you all in the groups. How, we often have this real romantic view of relationships, right? Miss Renee, Latifa, and we carry that into our relationships. But I want to know, and I'm going to talk to them, but I'm also talking to all of you, right? How does our upbringing shape the way we enter relationships, the way we love, the way we commit to relationships, or the way we enter relationships? How does that upbringing? Because as we know, and let me set the tone for why I'm asking this question. It's often said that our first lessons in love and relationships, and it come long before we even enter a relationship, right? We watch how our parents speak to each other. We notice how they handle conflict. And then we quietly learn what that connection, what care, and what respect looks like. And that becomes like our early blueprints for how we show up in love and how we show up in relationships and how we express emotion and communication and how we choose the people who we enter into long-term relationships with. So if we grow up in a warm and nurturing home, and we feel more confident in navigating, emotional ups and downs. But if we grow up in an atmosphere that's scarce on affection or where conflict is constant, then we might find ourselves repeating that pattern because it feels more familiar, even if it's not fulfilling, right? Even if the way that your family views like money or marriage, for instance, can affect our own choices. If your family views just living together versus getting married, can affect how you view it. But what's the psychological rather than the sociological impact of how your upbringing shapes you when you come into a relationship? Let's start with you, Miss Renee.
Well, I think thank you for that question. And it was as you were speaking, I was like, she's answering the question. You answered the question, really. Like with our initial our connections, what we experience with our parents is our first demonstration. We learn how to, resolve conflict. We learn uh, how to express ourselves or not express ourselves. And we learn if we see people that's been abusive towards each other. And um, those are images and experiences that over time may become normalized. Like this is how people engage. This is what we do, or this is how I protect myself from being a target. Or there's different cues and things that we pick up in our informative years. And so and also our relationships both with our mother and our father, right? So those are our first like intimate relationships with people that we also we're learning from, right? And so it's something to pay attention to when you start to get curious about like, well, what happened, or what shaped maybe this behavior, what shaped this maybe this way I'm talking to myself or talking to my partner, or the expectations I may have, right? Like, well, this is what we were taught. This is what we were told, that this is how you behave. And so we carry that. And so and and along the way we can also redefine or pick and choose, but oftentimes we do repeat what we've been taught and exposed to.
Thank you.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
I think when that happens.
I had some good questions too. I was over here, I was philosophizing. You should have heard it. It was good. So, how do you recognize that you're even doing it or it's an issue? So, what steps do either one of you? Let's start with Latifa and then Renee. How do you know it's an issue? Because you don't know what you don't know. So, how do you know it's an issue?
Well, you really don't know until you're exposed to other things. What Renee was saying, you don't know because you live in this little world. You have your value systems, your beliefs, your nature and nurture, what you learn out in the environment, and also your home is what's going to shape you. So you didn't know that. Because like me, I can just give my example. Growing up, all I knew was in that environment that I was in, I just didn't know the difference with healthy relationships versus abusive relationships. If I grew up in the home where it was always it was a lot of abuse, but didn't even know. But that was normal for me because that was something that I grew up in. So when I became an adult, and as I began to grow, that's what I sought after, what I had that image of, or what I had that example of. So that's what I uh, when I as I began to grow and date, those are the kind of people that I was drawn to, is what I experienced in my household. So I didn't know until I started looking at him and then looking at other people and taking that and looking at that example and looking at my example. I said, oh, this is different here. So what do I do? What can I do? So I started venturing out and looking at other things and looking at other people. And then that's how I started, learning, because I didn't know when I got out there. So I was like in my little world, in my belief system, and everything that I was doing as I was growing up. So that's how I did it myself. After I ventured out, then I was able to tell the difference, have something. If we don't have anything to compare it to, how are we supposed to know? So I started getting things I could compare it to. And then once I started doing that, then I was like, oh, okay, there is a difference here. So it's like branching out and getting more knowledge and making your world a little larger than it was just being in that environment in the home and with your friends that you knew. So that's how I started my journey.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, when I think of also I would say the evolution of the journey is like, as you say, as you view and see other examples, you're like, oh, that's different. Okay, everybody don't cut up like this, or everybody, there's a different example. And I can also say, like, I grew up and I had a varied upbringing, right? I had some traumatic things that I was exposed to, but then I also had somewhat of a balanced exposure. My mom that raised me for the majority of my childhood, her and my dad, they were married for 60 years. So I did see like stability. But then on the other hand, my mother, my biological mother, she was trafficked as a teenager. And so she had that trauma, and she had jumped out of a window, two-story window, when she was pregnant with me. And so I had some of that going on, and I was able to kind of go back and forth between my stable mama and her, and that was the start of the crack cocaine in the air. So I was exposed to, as the kids call it, trap house. So I saw a lot. I also had a balance of other things. So, I also say a lot of some of my relationship mistakes that I had was a response of trauma, right? Like the feeling of the abandonment, or what's wrong with me, or my mother and my dad didn't want me, and and so you kind of carry that and don't understand it, like, but as an adult, I understand, well, she didn't have the capacity to take care of me. Like, she was a child and was traumatized and abused, so she did the best thing she could with what she had, right? And so as you get older, you come to an awareness and understanding through, through either my experience, through education. I had this profound, and I've been married twice. I was married to my daughter's father. I was married, we were 9 years, and then my last husband that I was married to, we were married 15 years. So we're together 15 and married for 12. So I have had both good, the bad, and the ugly, right? But I've learned through it, I learned more about myself through those relationships, right? I learned that you know, um, I was a people pleaser sometimes. I learned that I didn't have high esteem, where I accepted some behaviors and abuse that, if one really practice self-love, they would have, may have made a decision to not endure those things. So, but I don't regret any of those experiences, right? I believe that they're all purposeful for even where I am, today in my life. And, sometimes I feel like, oh, when I think about like my mom and dad that was married for 60 years, and I sometimes be like, well, what's wrong with me, and why I couldn't keep a successful relationship, and I was able to do all these check boxes and all of those things. And so then I release the these the mindset to, attack me or whatever. Then I have compassion. I'm like, well, what happened? Like, well, what were some things that happened in my life? And I allow that to then recenter me that it's okay, right? Everything is okay, right? It's all purposeful. So those are some things that I've, have come full circle through in through my clinical practice, through my own personal journey and self-growth, that trauma does have an impact. And when we don't face it or talk about it or deal with it, it comes up. We have, you have to understand your wounds, you have to understand your triggers, and your emotional needs, right? So I'll stop talking. Please let one
No,
other
no.
share the conversation.
Yeah.
Before
Can
you
I just say one
go
other
on,
thing?
go
Sure,
ahead, go
before
ahead,
it's in my mind, real
go
quick.
ahead.
And I want to piggyback on what you said, Renee. The fact is, it's like when we are growing up and we become adults, we feel as though that is another chapter, but we forget that we have trauma from coming up as a child, as growing up. And that's where the ACEs come in, adverse childhood experiences. And sometimes we bury those things. We bury them. And when we bury them, and then when we become adults and then we try to get in relationships, we don't realize that we're carrying a lot of that baggage with us, and we buried it so much so those triggers are going to happen and they're going to come out, and then we wonder what's wrong with me. But a lot of times you have not subsided with that trauma that you had from a childhood, and you don't even realize it because it's so buried deep within. You even realize it's there, and you're going on thinking, "Oh yeah, I'm okay," but you're not okay because you haven't dealt with it. And sometimes you don't know that you haven't dealt with it. So that's what you're carrying around as well. So it's really going back into what has shaped me from a childhood to now. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
subject there. But I'm
No,
saying, I just want to
that's what
throw
I
it
wanted
out.
to hear. And,
Oh, it's
before, and
all
I
on
see,
point.
you, Naira. I see your hand, but I wanted to shape this for you. The reason that I had these two particular women speaking first is because, and I'm gonna start with Renee. It's because I think it was important to say it from this aspect, and I have another question for you guys too. Is I love your tagline on your email, Latifa. Ego is the only requirement to destroy any relationship. So be bigger than the person. Skip the E and let it go. Love it. Certified relationship life coach. Same. Both of you are. I like that. So Renee is she's a master's in social work from UC Berkeley. She has a bachelor's in sociology and ethnic studies from Cal State Hayward. She's a licensed clinical social worker, certified clinical trauma professional, and mine is per practitioner. And and having spent so much time, 23 plus years, with the Alameda County Children and Family Services, and we've talked about these and what you've seen in that environment, the trauma that you've seen families go through, dealing with restorative justice and working on kinship care, and even after that, you still decided that having experienced watching other people experience trauma, and then you experience the trauma of having experience is watching people experience trauma, you still decided to move forward with full-time therapy and coaching and leadership development and relationship development, and using that experience to help people through their own trauma and anxiety and grief and relationship management, and using your experience with that, and and being a therapist and life coach. And for those who I want you to talk about, because Renee has a book and it's called The Art of Choosing Yourself Unapologetically. I have and it's not just a book, it's a workbook. I have it, I've been working through it, and it is, it's one of these, it's different from like self-help. It's something that she has this, it's a mindset formula You want to explain that really quick? Because it's going to help us through this next hour of relationship speak, because it's a lot of times, and this is where I wanted you to talk about, a lot of times we think relationships has to do with the other person, when in fact, it's you. It has to start with you, not the other person. Because especially when you're on your second, third, fourth, fifth relationship, like
I'm
some of the
done.
people.
I'm like, I'm not trying no more.
Well, you know, it's
And I
not
don't
even
think that
just
in a
you.
bad way. I think I think love is beautiful and all of that, but I'm like I'm in a good space where I'm at. And I've actually re-engaged and I'm friendly with my ex. We've actually been talking and all of that. So I'm love is, but I don't want to be married anymore. That's just me right now.
Tell them why. Tell them why
I
you
enjoy
said
my private time, my
it's
space.
that.
Just me.
Yeah.
I do, and the freedom that I have with that. I believe that but I enjoyed. There was a lot of parts of being in the marriage that that I enjoyed too. But I had other things that I had to, I had to. It wasn't just like, oh, I didn't have my space to not be in a room. There was like abuse in there that I had to leave because of that, right? Um, but there. No, I'm sorry. Now, what was the question? I didn't so get
I
off of.
wanted you to talk about
Oh,
how
the framework.
about the framework and how it was that you had to come to the point that it wasn't just the other person, that you had to work
Yeah.
on you.
It was me. It was a lot of, it was my own, it was him and me. It was both of us, but it was also my own self-awareness of when you know that you can be friends, but you don't have to be in a relationship with the person either, right? Like some things just not in alignment and just doesn't, it's just gonna constantly have conflict. And that's okay. Sometimes you have different beliefs that just does not allow for harmony, I would say. But going back to the framework of the book, it's Empower, and it is self. It is because you can't be in a relationship until you're like have some of your self stuff worked on, right? It's like, because then we'll be projecting and you and you and you this, right? Instead of looking in the mirror and saying, well, what's going on with you? How are you taking care of yourself? What is the messages that you're saying to yourself, instead of being hyper focused on what somebody else is saying and doing, right? Like pausing and putting the oxygen mask on first. And I also, and it wasn't just for me, it was just also it was a combination of stories and feelings through my clients, through friends, circles, through work, through all of those combination of those experiences. So Empower, the E is educate. So that's just like getting a self-awareness of how you internalize communication, how you interpret it. Do you personalize it? Do you project? I don't know. These are all these like sometimes I'm therapizing people, like, don't be using those therapy words, but sometimes we will take it personal, right? Or, instead of like being able to have an ear of like being objective and just hearing what they're saying, instead of saying, well, you try to say something, well, what's wrong with me? Or what you trying to say about me? We get defensive, right? So that's what I mean, like personalizing, or we'll generalize something, right? You just, we're not able to look at a thing for that one thing, right? We'll put a whole, to make our point, we'll, often inflate it or something, or we could use another word, catastrophize. We blow stuff out of proportion, or we'll, oh, it's never going to work out, or oh, it's, instead of like, okay, let's just calm down. And so this is like getting an understanding of like, how do you process emotions and things that happen, or life experiences? How do you respond to things that happen? It's like they often say, it's not what happens, but it's how you respond to it. So E is slowing down and getting an understanding of how are you responding, right? How are you reacting? And knowing that the way you respond has an impact on your body. Stress, like the stress hormone, like when we elevate ourselves, we're going to fight and flight response. It's just like knowing that matters, like, and over time and over compound time, you get sick. That stuff can cause sicknesses and cause diseases. It compromises your immune system. So the E is like really going over all of that, having an understanding of how you're responding and how it's impacting you on a short-term and a long-term basis. And then the M is mindfulness. So that's a new way of just saying being in the moment, because we can, and again, we're talking about the past and and trauma and how our past can have an impact on our present and future. However, when we are talking about the past, we're doing it from the present moment. And when we're fretting about the future, we're still doing it from the present moment. So really learning how to just be here, be present sometimes, right? Because when we're worried and have anxiety, like when I have clients that have high levels of anxiety, that's because they're worried about something that they feel that they don't have control. And so that's what anxiety is, and so it's just like, okay, well, what do you have control over right now, right in this moment? How you respond? What kind of problem solving can you do? Can you breathe? Can you just release it right now? So just learning how to just stop, just be right here, just be right here. And I talk about different strategies that you can do to do that. Deep breathing. I wish I would have knew how to deep breathe back in my 20s and 30s. I used to do this elevated breathing and all of this incredible Hulk. I had problems with my anger, right? Because I didn't know how to calm myself down, right? And so with deep breathing, it's like you're control. So I go through a lot of different strategies of how to just be in control of your own self and your own emotion, right? And regulate. We do have, God has given us an ability to, with all of these ranges of emotions, there's nothing wrong with them, right? But it's just like having an awareness. So that's the M. And then P is positive affirmations, meaning your self-talk. How are you talking to yourself? What is the language? What is the stories you're telling yourself? What is, how are you encouraging or putting yourself down, right? What is the language like? They say we say like 80,000, 90,000 thoughts a day. I don't know how they measured it, but we do. We have like, it's like they're going off. Like, so what are they? So paying attention to that. And then O is own your story, own your power. So this is the area where you get to forgive that trauma, that past. I had to forgive my dad that he was a pimp. I got 24 brothers and sisters. So he did a lot of destruction, right? Through his actions, right? Dismantled families, whatever, right? I had to forgive, like I stayed in situations I shouldn't have. It was long. Forgive myself. Well, why did you do that? What's wrong with you, right? Forgive yourself, release it, let it go. You get to recreate your own narrative, your own story. Every time you open your eye and you're given another day, that is another day and another opportunity to own your story, own your power. So that's what that chapter is about. W is well-being. Like, how do you take care of yourself? Like, what are the tangible things to foster your sense of wellness, right? Your sense, are you, moving your body? How are you eating? Your sense of your spirituality, your financial needs, your community. How are you nurturing those parts of yourself? So that's W. And then the second E in empower is excited and explore. So this is the area where you get to get curious about yourself. What are you excited about? What is your superpower? What are you good at? What are your gifts? What are your strengths? How do you elevate them? How do you share them? If you don't know them, it's like I said, explore. So this is get curious. Try some stuff. Try on some new stuff. Don't be afraid to pivot, right? We also be like, this is all I know. Try some new things, right? And so that's the E. And then the last letter in power is R, and that's relationships. It's kind of like full circle about, and a relation, not just relationship with others, but again, the relationship with yourself. This is about communication, like having boundaries, knowing how to say no with love and not feeling guilty about it. Knowing your love language, knowing how you show love, knowing how you like, what feels like love to you. Be having an awareness about that. And so that is the framework, the coaching framework that I created. And it was, like I said, through a combination of my experiences, through my, training, education, um, and so I won't call it, yeah, that's my baby or whatever. And I turned it into the book. So thank you for allowing me to share that with you all.
Thank you. And I'm going to come back to it in because I have a question about it. I have it I want to weave it into another question. And then Dr. Latifa, who's also a certified relationship and life coach and domestic abuse awareness trainer. She founded Healthy Positive Choices, and which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And she uses that organization to educate teens and young adults about the dangers of domestic violence when entering relationships, so they can advocate for healthy relationships, which is really needed, especially when you're entering relationships for the first time. She's a published author, got like about a dozen books almost. And the newest one, Heart Connections, a Healthy Relationship Guide, was released earlier this year. You want to tell us about it? Because that's the one that I really like.
This one here. It's Heart Connections. It's talking about what we've been talking about relationships. How do you go about having a healthy relationship? You know, we all want relationships, but how to sustain a healthy relationship, that's an issue sometimes. You know, we get into it, and I think in our minds we say, okay, I'm in this relationship. I married you. The man may think, oh, I married you. Isn't that enough? And so they go on about their lives, and y'all go on about your lives, but it takes work. It's not just, I'm married now. Let's sit down and have dinner and look at all these nice things that can happen. It takes work. You have two people that have different personalities. And you talked earlier, Cheryl, about coming from different walks of life. Do you have certain backgrounds? Your backgrounds are so different from each other. Some of them are and some of them aren't. But if they are, you look at your value system. What is your value system? How did you grow up? You know, some of us grew up in and really, you know, healthy environments, and some of us grew up in really domestic violence. I mean, just all kind of different things. As you talked about, Renee, all the trauma, all the different things that have happened in our lives. So you come together with another person. And if you have not worked on yourself to find out what really makes me tick, what is it that I want out of life? What is it that I want to accomplish in this relationship? Sometimes we just close our eyes and gets married to someone, and then we don't know what the heck's going on. We just know that we're getting married. And I think that, just to venture off a little bit about being a Muslim, I think because the pressure is there for us as Muslims to be married, sometimes our ideology of marriage is so jacked up. I'm just going to tell you, because we'll think, okay, you're a Muslim, I'm a Muslim, let's get married. Oh no, that could be so wrong. Some of us are from different environments, and as Muslims, we'll say, okay, you're a Muslim, I'm a Muslim, let's get married. I know you like, you love this deen, I love this deen, but it could be so wrong. You know why? Because you have a different environment. You can be a good person. You can be good when you're by yourself. But how do you do when you have to incorporate another human being into that circle? And that's where we start having our problems, because we have different, I talk about this in the book, where we have different ideologies, where, say, for instance, you grew up in a home where everyone came to dinner. They come to dinner as a family, and you do this. And then some people grew up where, hey, you just grab you a plate, you start eating, you go on about your business. And then if that person that you married to doesn't have that same concept, then you're going to be getting mad. Well, what's wrong with you that you can't sit down and eat dinner? But then he's like, or she's like, what's wrong with you that you can't just go and eat whenever you're hungry? So you have to talk about these things. You have to talk about what it is, or how you grew up, and what is your concept of what a marriage is. So we have all of these things, and we never talk about that. You talk about the surface things, but do you talk about the real deep things that are within you that you have to talk about? And those are some of the things that I've had to do in my marriage. And Renee, I know you said, okay, sometimes you're good where you are at that moment, and that's okay too. No one can say, oh, you don't want to get, what's wrong with you? No, I'm good. I'm good where I am. And some people have to realize that they're better when they're with someone, or that makes them just feel better. I don't know, whatever that concept is that they have in their mind. And so with me getting married, I just happened, and that's why I know that he was someone that was brought to me, because I had a lot of things going on in my mind, in my head, and what the concept is. And then after getting married, and he knows a lot about human nature. So it was a struggle. It was a struggle in the beginning, because sometimes people don't want to look at themselves. Like you said, you're trying to, you want to look at that person. What were you saying, Renee? You said you want to, what was that word you were using?
Project, where you're projecting on the other person.
Yes, you project. And that's what a lot of us do. We're project because we don't want the spotlight on us. We want to like, okay, let's get the spotlight on me. Oh, yeah, I remember when you did that same thing, and so on, so on, so. So you start projecting, and then it begins an argument, because you gotta be able to see yourself. You gotta be able to look at yourself and say, you know what? Yeah, did that. And I got to own it. I got to own what I did and say, not put that other individual in at that time. Okay, I did so and so and so and so. And so that's what we had to get to, because we get defensive as human beings. We're going to naturally get defensive when someone says something that's gonna, it's like a threat to us almost. So we're gonna get defensive, and that's what things, well, I remember this, and then you argue. But someone has to be able to say, look, this is where we are. We need to own what we've done, and let's see where we can come together and how we can, work through those concepts that we have. And the people that have been married all of those years, like Fleming and his wife, they had to work through concepts. They had to work through things, but they were both willing to. And that commitment has to be there. And some people just go so far and they're like, okay, I'm gone. But the commitment, we can all do this, but it has to take two people that are willing to deal with all of the mess. And my husband tells me, even when things, okay, you want to do this, he'll say, yeah, I'll do this, or I'll do that. He said, that's what I signed up for. In a marriage, it's not all about what I want to do. It's about what we want to do, or that I may have to do something that you don't want to do sometime, and you may have to do something that I don't want to do sometime. So it does take us both looking to say, we signed up for this. Some people just want to be selfish and don't, I don't want to do that. Ain't what I want to do. But did you sign up for this? And if you did, then you're going to have to put some of those selfish ways behind you. And you're going to have to be able to look at that individual. Seeing, that's another thing. Sometimes your mate doesn't see you. I ain't talking about see you physically, see you, the inner person. Sometimes they don't see that. And that's why I have learned so much in being married to my husband, because he sees me, because I got all kind of facets to me. And I know we as women, we have all kind of things with us. And so I'm saying they have to be able to see. You have to be able to see each other, not just look, but look within each other. And that's why I said heart connections, because it's going to take time, and it takes us to be able to come together and to see ourselves and to deal with those hard things. It's hard sometimes when you have to look within yourself. But people don't want to look within themselves. They want to stay on the surface. Well, so that's who I am, and this, that, and the other. But you got to be willing to go inside and look at who you are as an individual and be able to deal with that. And people don't want to do that, And so
with that,
that's what I'm saying.
I have a question, because I want to put you two on standby, because you might have to jump in here in a minute, because I'm about to ask some real hard questions to our long married couples, including myself.
There's a hand up too. I see a hand up.
Yeah, I see Miss Manira. I want you to hold on just a second, Miss Manira. Hold on, because I need to ask this question based on what you two just said. And Brother Fleming, Miss Cassandra, Jamila, because I did talk to Jamila last night about these. Where is Sister Martha? She's still on somewhere on here. There she is, Sister Martha. Here's the question. We were talking about commitment and what it takes and long commitment and you know, this thing about, you know, marriage, it's a contract. You signed a contract. This is why they called it a contract. This is what I do. I'm a contract professional. This is what I do. You know, the law. This is what I do. And who was that? Was it Al Green? Who sang that song, Jamila? It's cheaper to keep her. Who sang that song? Somebody tell me. Who sang that song?
I can't remember.
It's an old song from South. Jamila from the South. She's on Mississippi.
Taylor.
accent.
I
Who sang that
Taylor.
song?
Johnny
Tell me,
Taylor.
Johnny Taylor.
Somebody
Johnny Taylor.
Johnny Taylor.
Johnny Taylor.
And so I'm telling you the truth. Anybody who's lived with anybody for a number of years, I don't care who you are. And if you tell me you lived with anybody for more than a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, and you look me in my face and tell me, but I love him, I love her, and we've never had an argument. We always get along. We love each other so much. I love being around him so much. You ain't telling the truth. Because human nature says you're going to get on each other's last daggone nerve at some point. Your brother, your sister, your mama, your daddy, your husband, your wife, you're going to get on each other's nerve. It's just human nature. COVID showed you that, right? We all had to be locked up, close quarters with each other. And some relationships didn't work. They melted apart. Renee, Latifah, I know you got a whole bunch of clients out of COVID because people could not be in close quarters with each other. And those who are committed to it say, I remember watching the Obamas, and they were saying how, you know, it doesn't, they go to marriage therapy, and people were like, oh, what? Clutching pearls. And they were like, what? You go to therapy, but you made a commitment that, you know, not getting through this was not an option, right? My question to each of you is that how do you get through those hard times? Besides, because you Muslims, and I know you ain't somewhere
I feel
drinking
like
at the
Steve
bar.
Harvey in this point because like I said, I've been divorced twice, so I don't know. I don't think I can talk.
I don't know. No, I'm
I think
asking.
the ones that had the marriage that's for 60. I would love to hear from
Yeah,
those.
I'm gonna ask the couples. So I'm gonna ask Miss Cassandra and Fleming, because truthfully, I mean, you're not somewhere throwing back Johnny Walker Black because I know you Muslims or smoking some blunts. So I know you ain't doing that. So there has to be there's some secrets. I mean, I've been in this 30 some years now. So I mean, I know my secret, and I'm be honest. My husband on here now. He's Mr. iPhone. He knows. He don't know that sometimes I be standing over him while he sleep with a pillow and like with my eye twitching. But then I say, you know, I like Clorox wipes, and I'm vegan, and they don't serve good stuff. So everybody have your fork. You got your fork. Everybody got your fork. I'm gonna tell you a secret why I got your fork. You got your fork? Dear, you're supposed to get a fork. So, dear, go get your fork. I know you're not on camera. So, anybody who can get on camera, I need you to get on camera with your fork. Get on camera with your fork. I want to show you something. Renee, you got to get back on camera with your fork. My grandmother used to say, mi abuela used to say, that the way to a man's heart is what? Anybody remember this? Fleming, come off mute. Come off mute. Come off mute.
Didn't have it.
It's through what?
Through his stomach.
Through his stomach.
Through his stomach.
You, Fleming, you're on mute. Fleming, come off mute. Sister Amatullah, we can't see you, Sister Amatullah. Alaji-Sabrie, our co-host. We can't see you. You got your fork, Jasmine. I see you. Jamila Smith-Foles, come on, I got to see you with the fork.
I got my fork. My hair just not done, friend. Trust me, I got my fork.
You'll be all right.
Just recorded.
I can't take you. Sister Alaji-Sabrie, you got your fork?
What do you need a fork for?
I'll tell you. You just need your forks, right? Come on, get your fork. I'll tell you. Okay, Kareem, you got your fork? So my grandmother's an old Creole woman, right? And she used to say the way to a man's heart to his stomach, yeah, to his heart is through his stomach with a fork, right? But she say Creole women can get quite petty and we can get quite vindictive. So I want you to take that fork and I want you to put it up to your face and I want you to put it up to one eye and I want you to look through the tines of that fork and I want you to think because that's what it's going to look like if you do something to that man. Your life going to look like this, looking through the cells, you're looking through a prison cell and I want you to remember
That was a
that that's
different
what your
girl.
life going to look like for 10 or 20 if you do something to that
Girl, you're
man.
crazy.
So while the way to his stuff, his heart might be through his stomach, I want you to remember that the way to your salvation, I want you gonna keep that fork. I keep a fork in my bag to remember that no matter how mad he make me, I'm gonna go get something to eat. I'm just gonna eat some berries or a salad or something else. But I don't want to spend my life behind. I don't. So keep a fork in your bag for a couple reasons. Just gonna make him a salad or something, even if he make you mad. So I say that. So what is your key to keeping a happy marriage? So this is my key to getting over. So Trent, there you go. He on the line. That's Mr. iPhone. That's my husband. That's why you need a fork. See, you know that all these years that I kept a fork in my bag just in case. My secret is out. Secret is out. Fleming, Miss Cassandra. What's your secret?
Oh boy.
My husband want to know why I don't cook all the time. And that's because, yeah, he want to know why we have twice as many forks in the house as spoons and knives. That's why. Brother Fleming, Sister Cassandra. Yo, sir.
I'm trying to pass this on to the doctor in the family. Dr. Ellerman, you want to go first?
Dr. Cassandra, your turn.
Well, she's insisted I go first. You know that? I'm always put on the spot like this. I don't think there's any one thing in particular. I know if I allow myself to just think for a minute, I don't have the physical fault. My thoughts can go back to how we first met, basically. That helps a whole lot. And we met when I was in high school. And both went to college. Those were some formative years in our relationship. So those were, you could say, the cement, somewhat cemented our relationship going forward. And we got married after college. Like my senior year in college, she'd already graduated. So thinking back to those times, I'll give you one specific one. When I first met her, I was in 11th grade. She was engaged to someone else to marry. They call it hope chest. And so this young man could not come and escort her at a ball she's supposed to be escorted in, a sister's ball, and I was the substitute date. All right, 56 years later, we're still together. I'll stop right there. That always reminds me of how things get started, and it keeps me more balanced because there are moments, like our sister said, when we all go through it. Just allow myself to think back. Please go somewhere and just think for a minute. Go in the basement and think for a minute. Go out to the garage and think for a minute. Take a walk in the neighborhood and think for a minute. Please think for a minute, and just come on back home and deal with it.
I always tell myself to go somewhere and sit down. Yeah. Just go somewhere and sit down.
That's what my grandmother used to say. Yes. Go somewhere and sit down. Go somewhere and sit down.
Yes. All right, Cassandra.
But Renee, she was married 3 times. What'd you say, Miss Cassandra?
Yeah, one of the things that's been really important in our relationship because we met so early was that we give each other a chance to grow. Because through life, you both grow and change, and your needs grow and change. So that we have had to allow each other to grow and to be there for each other as we did grow and change. And we have been through many, many ups and downs in 50 years. But the thing for me is just hold on. So we just hold on through it. You know, we don't give up. We don't hurt each other, but we just hold on. Sometimes even by the tips of your fingernails, but
Yeah.
hold.
Yeah. I like that. That's really good advice. I like it. That's what I'm gonna say. I like that. Hold on. Even by your little toenails. Hold on.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Hold on. Miss Amatullah, what you think? I got you, Manera. You're next. Miss Amatullah, what you think? So Alaji-Sabrie.
Oh, I think that this is an area that I'm probably not the best person to give advice, but I think for me, the importance of keeping the family together, that focus was a big part of giving me the strength to hold on, you know, because when two people come together and you have family ties and family connections, because really the marriage is joining two families. It's not just those two individuals. You have to, as some of the previous speakers have said, you have to be concerned about your own well-being. But then I think for me, what has been my secret is the importance of realizing that there are consequences to my actions and that it impacts all of my other relationships. It impacts your children, it impacts your grandchildren, your brother-in-law, sister-in-law, mother-in-law, you know. So even though divorce is something that God has permitted, it is not something that is something that he frowns on, but he's permitted it. And I don't think anyone should stay in any relationship where it becomes too harmful for your being. But sometimes you have to, you know, reach deep down and do the assessment. Does the good outweigh the bad? And try and increase the good as much as you can. That's it for me.
I like that too. Thank you. Sister Manira.
Yes, thank you.
I keep wanting to give you a Spanish name.
Alhamdulillah. It's first of all, I want to clarify. This is my second marriage. I've been married 15 years. Okay, so I'm a student of relationships. Uh, Myself, I study relationships. And I started doing the deep dive and studying relationships because I wanted to know. I knew that I didn't have the skill sets or the tools I needed to really be successful in it and to teach my children how to be successful in relationships. So I've been studying relationships basically since 1997. And one thing that I have learned is that our concept of marriage is not realistic from the jump, from the beginning. It's not about forming a romantic relationship with someone. If we think about romance, we're only romantic with each other for small amounts of time, small amounts of spurts of time throughout a long relationship. It's not a constant state of being to be in romance. The constant state of being in a relationship is working together and managing lives together for the betterment of each other. So if we change that perspective and paradigm when we're meeting someone, it brings a whole different reality to this relationship. Anybody that you are in close quarters with for any period of time is going to have an effect on you. If you go to school for 8 hours a day, that teacher is going to have an effect on you. They'll motivate you to be better, or they'll make you feel bad because they're talking down to you all the time, or make you close up. Okay? You're going to be challenged in a certain way. When we get married to someone, that person is going to challenge us either to help us heal or improve ourselves or to create more trauma for us. Okay. We go up or down, you know, and sometimes we expand and we go sideways and we face this expansion, but there's going to be a challenge in some way. So when we realize that we are coming together as two human beings who have suffered some type of trauma, it can be small traumas or big traumas, but every human being has had some type of trauma, and you're two human beings coming together. Can we work together? Can we assist each other? Can we help each other attain the peace and tranquility that Allah says that we should have out of marriage? Okay. Do we listen to each other? Okay. Do we balance each other off? Do we have the same energy to work together? Are we looking for solutions to problems? Are we looking for someone to pay for the pain or inflict pain on? Okay. All of these narratives have to be looked at when you're deciding who you want to spend your life working with. Who is going to be the father or mother of your children? You know, will they inflict the same kind of trauma that I experienced? Or do they have a different paradigm where we can all heal? So, relationships and coming together is going to be about two people healing because everybody's had some trauma. Some traumas are just huge and off the charts, and some traumas are small. And even racism and being oppressed is now considered a trauma. So everybody has some type of trauma, but how can you help that person heal? How can that person help me heal? How can that person facilitate me being better? How can I facilitate the other person being better? How can we combine our experiences and make sure these things don't happen to our children? How can we give them a better emotional sense of well-being in life? Okay, so many times you'll meet someone, and that person is either going to be the cause of breaking you down and realizing that you need to start from scratch and build up. Say, in the event that I did in my first marriage, I didn't value myself like I should have. I put everybody else first. But I had to learn through that painful relationship to value myself. Put your mask on first. You know, you can't take care of anybody else without doing that. You know, so that was the big painful part of what I learned in that particular relationship. But then when I look back on it, I see that when I took the emotions and things out of it and the false expectations, that if we had worked together to help each other, he had what I needed, I had what he needed. But exchanging that and putting that together to benefit each other, that process was not on the radar for either of us. It was, what are we getting from this relationship, not what we're putting into it or how am I helping you. So it is it's a whole different paradigm when we look at marriage. It's not about
Right.
the romance.
I agree with you, but hold on just for a second because I have a question. I'm gonna stop you right there because I do have a question that I want to ask, but I want to get to Sister Amatullah first. I want to ask a question about that, what you just said. But first, let me get to Sister Amatullah first. Go ahead, sister. You're on mute.
I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that people can go to the website for Masjid al-Warithin in Oakland. And there's a series called The Year of the Quran. And I'm sorry, The Year of the Quran. Dr. Zaid Abdul Khan, he's a coach also. Abdul Karim, I'm sorry. He did a beautiful presentation this morning on relationships. And I would encourage people to go there. If you go to the Masjid Warithin website, in the chat, I put the link. And if it doesn't work for you, it's also part of the Masjid Warithin YouTube channel, I believe. But I also wanted to say, Sister Manira, she did cause me to think about something. You know, the environment around us. You know, the books we read, the romance novels, the TV shows we look at, the so-called rom-coms, just talk that people in common talk about. She's right. We do get so many of the wrong images and beliefs about marriage, but also I think we have to be careful in the language that we use for any relationship that we're in, whether it's with our children, whether it's with the elders, communication, but the language that we use is important that we have in any relationship. And I think it's important to realize that the relationship you have with yourself, very often you reflect that onto others and deflect it. So that self-awareness is so important that the other speakers have spoken about. And then just the final point that I'll make as far as the marriage relationship. I kind of think that two things. Number one, that God gives you that warning that you need. Should I go into this marriage with this person? But probably 99% of the time, we choose to ignore the signal, the warning, the inspiration, whatever you want to call it, as far as whether or not to enter into that relationship. And then the other point is that generally, if you are in any kind of relationship, if the other party gets angry and they respond in an angry way, that's I think a sure tell sign to you whether or not you'll be able to continue in a healthy way with that relationship. If when they get angry, if they start cussing you out, then you got to look at yourself and say, can I stand to be in this relationship with this person, whether it's a business partner, whether it's a client, whatever relationship it is, however that person in their anger, I think, reacts is a big flag, a warning sign to you, whether or not it's something that you can deal with. So those are just some more points I wanted to make.
Thank you. I want to get to a couple of other people first, and then I do want to ask a couple of questions because I don't want to close out here without talking to our therapist again. Stacy, welcome. Got my other Stacy on here who has a show on relationships. Hola, hola, hola. I wanted to give you a chance to tell people about your show, and then I do want to ask Miss Martha and Jamila, also two people who've been in long-term relationships, about, I want to ask you too the question about what it takes. But Stacy, can you just introduce yourself real quick to everybody?
Hello, my name is Stacy Ardrian Hogue. I actually go by Sa Stewart, but my name is Stacy. I am a non-surgical hair replacement specialist, book author, and business owner here in Oakland.
And host, podcast host.
And I am the facilitator for the Fly Girl Healing Circle every other Tuesday at Our Joy.
With Renee. Yes.
With Renee.
Yes, that healing circle is beautiful. The question that we're talking about right now. So Miss Martha and Jamila, I really want to hear the two of you give your take on the question. And what does it take to get through that commitment, especially when it's hard?
And greetings of peace to everyone. Martha Nyla Williams, Amatullah here, and I'm in St. Petersburg, Florida. I think it stands out to say Florida, uh, and because a lot of the traditions, the habits, and the things that I grew up under. But primarily, one thing that my mother said to us: if you make your bed hard, you lay in it. From a child, she would say that all the time. If you make your bed hard, lay in it until you're willing to get out of that bed. And at the same time, attending church and hearing it repeated over and over and over that God sees everything that you do, and that marriage, they will always have sessions on marriage, and marriage was something that God ordained. So they're putting the fear of God, the respect of God, and at the same time, the respect for my mother. So I'm putting that together in my head. And then my mother also emphasized, you're not leaving this house until you're married. So that led to the longevity, my willingness to go through the the length. I had no control over my first husband going to war and becoming drug ridden, and I just had to find it in my heart to divorce because for the sake of our children and me. And then my second husband, immediately after our child was born, he went off to school. So I said I had one to go off to the service and not come back literally, and one go off to school, and felt that, well, it was whatever. I just gave him the benefit of the doubt and said it just wasn't meant to be. So we later divorced. But the third husband, I would say, was my husband, and he was a trucker. I said, well, one went off to war, one went off to service, I mean, to school. And now here he's going off on the road. So I had literally learned young years to get used to me, who I am, what I am, and not respond to what others thought, because I had that intimidation process at one point in my grade school years. And so I had to learn to fear God. And that's what I did until I got to 15 years old. And I said, it just passed me, it made me pass out, trying to study the Bible and get it all down pat and really stay cued to the word. So divorce was something I saw that God did not approve of, did not like you said, did not like. So I didn't want it. So I said, when I'm married, I'm never going to divorce. Hint, hint, 2 times later, then the third time. So my husband, the one that was on the road, it was like he was right there in the house. I learned a lot of things about life with him. I learned a lot of things about sacrifices that he would make, showing it. He lived it. We had our hard times, misunderstandings, all of that, but he was willing to connect with me with the three children that I brought into the marriage, and they were young men. So, him, I don't know how his mindset was, what his mindset was. It appeared as though he was right there, and they meant a lot to him. What the problems that I internalized was the breakdown of communication when others on the outside said some things, and it meant that he, being on the road, that he would believe it. And so me having to defend in his absence that I did not violate his absence. That was the primary thing that would bring up, and not wasn't money. You would think it was money at different time, but not at that hype of his really truly wanting to know that he could depend on everything being copacetic, in line with marriage. And and then I began to realize whatever is happening, whatever happens, does the good outweigh the bad? And that's how, and then in talking with other people too, seeking conversations with other women to find solace for myself. My mother would just say, honey, teeth and tongue fall out, but if he's not beating on you, he's not emotionally draining you, and da da da. Well, I wouldn't tell about the emotionalism part, but alhamdulillah, but that's what sustained us, was my belief system, and how I really wanted to live it out. And so on his day of his last months of living, his last year or so, really, of living, I said, I said, I can't return to him what he invested in our family, being family. And so I was willing to give my all to his last days, which I didn't know when that would happen. We were looking forward to now. Oh, wow. After he gets healthy, and we'll be on the way to life again. So, my thinking was truly that if the good outweighs the bad and God is the greater than everything, then I could stay with them. And he too, we would look at one another and say, anytime that I feel like I want to leave, let each one know, let the other one know. And we appreciated that of one another.
Thank you. Yeah. Jamila.
My dad is a scientist and a mathematician, and he told us when we were little, love is math. If they add to you or multiply, you keep them. If they subtract or divide, leave them. So it was very simple. It was a very simple concept, and it's one that I took all the way into my marriage. The practical strategy is I keep pictures of me and my husband when we were 20 years old. We just walk by him every once in a while and remember, okay, that's what it used to look like. And then we just close our eyes and imagine being 20. And at the end of the day, if you love them more than you like them, you okay. I just love him more than I like him sometimes. You ain't gotta like everybody all the time. So sometimes I don't like him, but I still love him, and we wake up and we just choose each other. Listen, I'm too big to get out in them streets. I'm staying right where I am. So we'll make it work because I'm tired, I'm old, and I'm too big to start over. I'm complete.
So in full disclosure, Jamila and I are really good friends. And so we talk about this stuff all the time. And so last night we were talking, and so we had this conversation. We had the same conversation. It was hilarious about when our first children were born. My husband's on here, he knows the story. And I was recanting to her, and she had the same exact story. I remember when my oldest son was born, and he was born almost 7 weeks premature, about 6 weeks, 4 days premature. And I was having problems. And so they had to take me into surgery. And my husband was being the great husband, right? He's holding my hand, he's walking with me as they were wheeling me into surgery. And he's like shrugging my hand, and I'm barely conscious, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, well, they're taking you into surgery. Yes, I know. Where are you going? Well, they're taking you into surgery. He's being the very loving person. And where are you going? Well, you have to have surgery. And why are you here? Well, but you need surgery. And where is my son? Well, he going to the NICU. And why are you here? And he's trying to be the very good person. You go where my son is. And he didn't know that he was doing anything that he was not supposed to do. And Jamila had the exact same story because the reality is that you're not no doctor, you're no surgeon. You better go find that baby. And so we have these conversations. The reality is that what she just said, we both have the same line. I might not like you. Sometimes I really don't. Sometimes he might not like me. But it's a contract. Like gets you into a whole lot of trouble. My grandmother used to say that. And I'm gonna say something, and don't be atting me, don't be sending me no messages, don't be talking about, whoo, that girl ain't no good Muslim. Like get your legs up on somebody's shoulders and you get in trouble, and now you tied to this person for the rest of your life. Like get you in trouble. My grandmother said, keep your knees together, keep your mouth closed, keep all your orifices closed. Like get you in trouble. You like is a problem. Because like is that dude who's talking to you in middle school and high school, talking about how much he like you, and he then told your best friend the same line. Mm-mm. Mm. Like he like you today and he can't stand you next week. Like is not why you get married. Yeah, I liked my hair a certain way when I was 15. And then when I look back at those pictures, what the heck was I thinking? Yeah, I know some of y'all liked bell bottoms. What were you thinking? Some of you liked polyester. What were you thinking? Some of you liked Jerry curls. What were you thinking? Like get you in trouble. Even love is fleeting, right? It's an emotion. It's an emotion. You gotta have something more than that. You gotta have something more to hold on to. And the thing with especially not being authentic and trying to move yourself. I see you, Michael, trying to move yourself or trying to change yourself to appease someone else or an attempt to find someone that you're going to move. I love what Miss Dr. Cassandra said about allowing each other the space to grow. You are not going to be the same person at 17, 18, 19, 20 that you are at 45, 55, 75. And if you are, shame on you. And if you expect that person to be, shame on you. I am not the same person I was. I think I was 17, barely 18 when I met my husband. And if you expect me to be, shame on him. And if I expect him to be the same person, shame on me. You're supposed to grow together. You're supposed to have different wants and dreams and outlooks and perspectives. And sometimes it will be parallel and sometimes it might be perpendicular. But the one thing you should be able to do is talk about it. And you should be able to talk about it and maybe agree or agree to disagree. What I do know is that we all come into this, and when we look at each other, there was something, Jamila, where you at? The Jamila, we talked about this. We see in that other person what we see in ourselves. You're not seeing, and Renee, you say this a lot, right? This is what I was hoping you would say too again today. You're not seeing who they are. You are not seeing who they present. You are seeing your own worth or your worth deficit in that person. So if you have low self-esteem, it don't matter how good that person is that you're looking at, you're going to see in them what you are missing in yourself. So if you are upset because, here you are, Sister Latif, oh, you just got a doctorate or you just did this, and you sitting here and you haven't even got your GED, he going to feel intimidated, even if the words intimidation doesn't come out of his mouth. It's going to reflect that. If you're sitting here and you just got another good job and he over here flipping burgers, no matter how well you treat him or her or whoever, is going to come out because he's seeing in you what he is lacking. She's seeing in him what she is lacking because they haven't dealt with themselves, because it all comes back to self. My grandmother's idea of equally yoked has nothing to do with do you both earn the same much? Do you both bring do you bring that equal amount of self-worth to the table? It has nothing to do with money, because I remember she was the one with the businesses and all of this. But are they bringing something to Manira, to your point about, the balance? But I just don't agree that to me, it's still a contract. It's still a relationship. That relationship is still a contract. And I'm gonna tell you what, the reason, going back to, who was it who say something about, I think it's Amatullah and Fleming, the El-Amins. Asked my mother this one day. I had to go back and apologize because I was like, I remember when I was about 13 or something, I stood her in the hallway and I still feel her handprint on my face sometimes. I get a little warm on face. It was like right here. She hit me real good right here, right here. And it was one of them slaps that like the Scarlett O'Hara slap that I couldn't even cry. I was like, like the old white woman in the South slap. She would hit me like that because my mother didn't hit me. Because I remember I said I would leave him. I wouldn't even, I don't understand why you're with him. My stepfather. And my mother reached back like I owed her money. She reached all the way back. It was a Sunday. She reached back to Tuesday. And she reached back and she smacked me so hard. I didn't even have feelings, but I'm pretty sure if I did, they came out. But she smacked me so hard. I'm telling you, right now I'm still traumatized. I can feel it. Because I couldn't believe she smacked me. My mother never hit me. But she smacked me. My whole face went like exorcist all the way around, came back. I was shocked. I said, oh. And she said, and we will never have that conversation again. And I said, yes, ma'am. That's all I could say. I couldn't even think of no more words. I was speechless. And later, I came back a few years ago and I apologized. She said, you'll understand later. When you're an adult, you'll understand later. And I didn't understand until later. And I had to apologize to my mother. Because Amatullah, you said it about family and the dynamics and the decisions that you make affect more than just you and all of this. It's a business decision. It's a family decision. It's a contract. And I think that what we should be telling, especially those of you who do counseling for young married couples, you got to tell them you're not just getting this, because being in love is a feeling. And for those of you, I'm going to put up behind me and I'm going to let Michael Amin answer your question, a formula. When Sister Matula, when Miss Najwa got married, I gave her that vase and there's a formula. I wrote this chemical formula. Those of you who don't know, I'm a cell molecular biologist and biochemist, and I wrote this formula for love. And I'll explain it when we come back after Michael. And, you know, something happens to you, right? Your heart starts racing. Sometimes you get all hot, like you get palpitations when they walk in the room and you can't breathe. It's a chemical reaction that happens. But it also happens when you fall out of love, when you get angry. Right, Renee? You're angry.
Yeah.
See you. And so I'm gonna tell you the truth. My husband's on here.
Bill,
Oh, he just came off mute. You got something to say, Trent? You got something to say? Because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm about to tell him right
I'm
now.
on mute.
No, you're off mute.
Okay. No, I think that everybody brought about a lot of good, valid points as far as relationships go.
Uh-huh.
Best advice I received and could ever give somebody is my mother gave to me is when you're dating someone or becoming or you want to get into a relationship with someone or thinking about being married, you have to be friends first. My mother gave me advice, you guys are friends. That's the person you married, and my wife is my best friend. But that's how we've lasted for so long. I
Yeah.
think that's more important. I think people overlook that. I even have friends who've had the list of my wife has this, and that. She has to be a lawyer or whatever. And women have their list as well. I don't think that's always realistic. I don't think it's going to work that way. Um,
Right.
maybe for some it does. I don't know. My experience is best advice is you have to be friends, preferably the best of friends.
Yeah.
That's all I
Thank
have
you.
to say.
Thank you for that, Trent. And I will say that any woman listening, they know he's longshoreman. I'm telling you right now, I earned that pension. I earned that life insurance. Don't even try it. Stay away. Stay away. It's taken. And I mean, I appear nice and smiling. Don't let the smile fool you. Michael Amin, go ahead, dear.
Assalamu alaikum. God's peace be
Alaikum
upon
assalam.
you, on the group, MAP5, and thank you for this subject matter. It's very important.
Yes, sir.
I have come to understand that we don't understand, men and women, we don't understand one another. And I think we've come into an environment now where personal happiness is ultra important. There was a time, and it has weakened us, men and women. Uh, there was a time when the relationship, the development of family, and family was seen as, and the relationship of marriage was seen as the strengthening of the group. You know, not just my personal, what do you call it, nuclear focus on marriage, just me and my household, but it was an extension. Her family, my family. Um, these things are valuable. And because we've forgotten a lot about history, and those that are spiritually involved with scripture, we've forgotten about scripture. And so, because of this focus being taken away from the valuable principles that help us with our life, we have all of these problems with relationships, you know. So these kind of conversations are necessary. And I strongly agree with you. You know, this idea of love that we have now, it's a feeling. And feelings come and feelings go. Like you said, you know, and I think others know and they may say it. Sometimes you don't even like your partner, you know, but the relationship holds you together. Some Sometimes, and a lot of times you don't like yourself. And I I was married to a woman for 23 years, beautiful person, but at a particular point, she didn't want to be married anymore. And part of me, because of the way I am, you know, okay, if you don't want to be married, okay. But maybe we could have, God knows best, maybe we could have worked it out if I had raised the question of what's going on. But she didn't want me. I said, well, okay. But this same woman, after being divorced since 2015, she has Alzheimer's now. And she calls me about once a month and she forgets. But she told me that the last time we talked, which was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I still love you. Yeah, well, okay. I love you too. She's a beautiful person. But the thing of this idea of love is so corrupting and it's so individual. You know, we in an environment that pushes the energy of the individual, the rugged individual. And we've lost the ethos of connection and seeing ourselves, seeing the bigger self as the group self. We've lost that so many years ago now. We don't have the picture of I have to do this not only for me, and I'm speaking of marriage, not only for me, but to strengthen the group self, strengthen the community life. We don't have that. And lastly, because we've lost so many vital, necessary constructs to good life and good living, to what God says, we're in the mess that we're in now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Priscilla, you have a quick comment? I know we're getting close on time and I want to close out with the two therapists. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So I am not married, but I have been married. And what my mother told me in my early years was um, love yourself more than you love the next person, right? Love yourself first. And if I think if you do that, that helps because then you're on a solid ground. My parents were married 67 years, and my mother was 15 when she married my father, who was 29. And when my father passed, my mother passed 26 days later. And that was totally unexpected. But what I believe in, and I do believe in marriage, but what I see is I don't see the courting, right? When I listened to the Alamines, they were friends first. They knew each other for quite a few years. Um, and it seems to be what's necessary. They had a respect for one another, and then everything else followed. So, being in this community all my life, and I married Muslim men, but it seems that in when you get into these relationships, you are not valued for who you are. You are coerced to be something that you're not. So I find it very interesting that for a person who is bluntly themselves and to enter into a marriage and then realize that the person wants you to be something or someone else. And so courting, I believe, in it was one of my mother's philosophy, is vital, and especially with our young folks, a little time getting to know each other. And when you do that, spending time with each other, even with the family, you might see things that will give you a reason to reconsider, or restructure a relationship. So thank you so much.
I agree with you, and I think that comes from this misnomer and that comes from misnomer in this particular United States Muslim definition of relationships, that, oh, we don't date. That's your fault. And I'm just saying, just like that, these Muslim societies misnomer about, oh, we don't date, and nobody told you you can't have an arrangement where, listen, if my daughter has somebody she's interested in, my sons can go with her to wherever she's going with this particular young man or whatever. But no way am I letting her jump into some marriage and she doesn't know this person. I knew my husband for a number of years. Matter of fact, I met him, went away. I was here one summer. My cousin, he's the one who introduced me to him. Left, went that summer, went away to college, came back. I kept in touch with him the whole way and came back, and still was friends with him and then got married. That's why he said what he said about us being friends. I knew his family. So I want my daughter and my sons to have that same experience. This notion that you have to jump into marriage because, oh, we don't date. Hey, do what you want to do, and you're gonna end up the same way with divorces. You gotta know what you're getting into. Like I said, it's a contract and it's a relationship. You shouldn't be just jumping in and then again, if you want to be miserable, okay, keep doing it again. But keep doing the same thing that don't work. But you need to know who it is. It's the most intimate relationship you have besides the one you with the person who birthed you, your mama. You don't get no more intimate than your husband or wife. You don't get no more intimate than that. And with that, I'm gonna have to tell you this book that I'm reading right now. I told Jamila about it last night, and I think I told Stacy. It's called 30 Days Taming Your Tongue. I needed it. I
Yes.
need it. You probably already figured it out from the way that I talk. I need it. I need it. And I was getting my medication. Before you leave, Jamila, I just want to say it. I was getting my medication at the pharmacy, and the line was long, and I just don't like standing in line. I'm just not a line person. And people were like, "Oh, you can go in front of us," and I was like, "Okay, thank you." And then I saw the book at the corner of my right eye. That's my good eye, and I said, "Huh." I grabbed the book and I'm standing in line, and it's very and it's Christian based, but I was like, "Wait, what? What you say and don't say will improve your relationships." And I didn't get it for that reason. I just liked the title. And so I grabbed it. She sold over 1 million copies. And I started reading it that night, and I'm still reading it. It's a good book. So I would tell you, get this book if you get a chance. It's not that expensive. It was $7.99. And it was cheaper because I got it at the drugstore and they had it on sale. Get this book. You can probably find it cheaper on Amazon. But it talks about, and I think it's more applicable than just relationships. It's applicable to going back to what Renee said about yourself, going back to what Latifa said about checking yourself, and Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, whatever. It's good for everybody. It's good for everybody. Start with yourself. Because sometimes I do have to check myself. I'll be ready to look, I got that Latina tongue. I'm gonna say it. And I might say it in Spanish. I might say it in Arabic, French. So I'm gonna say it in some language. Sometimes I have to check myself and be like, oh, you were supposed to leave that inside your head. You weren't supposed to let it come all the way out. And sometimes it'll be on my face. It might not make it to the tongue, but it'll be in my face. So I do have to check myself. So get the book. Brother Muhammad, if it's really,
What
really,
day?
really quick, because I need Renee, she has to jump off and I have to have her close out. So really quick, sir. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Okay, let me have
While
Renee.
he's
Let me have
finding that
Renee.
out, Cheryl,
Let me
while
have
he's
Renee
find,
close out. Let me have
Cheryl,
Renee
what,
close out.
Cheryl,
Yes.
while he's getting off of mute, what day are you on of those 30 days?
Since this week, I got it last Friday, so I'm only on 5. So that's why I'm still smart aleck today. Brother, I'm on day petty instead of day I'm still on day petty instead of, I haven't got to tame yet. Brother Muhammad, really quick, I need Renee to close out.
Yes, Manera has a program called Courtship and Marriage, not dating and marriage, courtship and marriage.
Have her announce that right before she gets off. Is she still on?
Courtship and marriage.
Courtship and marriage. Yes,
Not
sir. Yes, I got you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that distinction. All right, Miss Renee and then Miss Latifa. I want you to give us some last words before you
I
get
just
off.
want to say I just appreciate the richness of this conversation and the wisdom here, and I don't I don't feel like an expert here on this conversation to be honest. I just feel like I'm appreciative of this dialogue, and I think that that's what helps others, our community, if we continue to have the thank you, Cheryl, for having this conversation for us to engage, and so we can, like you said, let our children know, let our nieces and nephews know, to have these conversations, normalize it. I think healthy relationships thrive where there's truth, where there's accountability, where there's, you have compassion for yourself and others, where there's self-awareness, and where all of those intersect. And the truth is, we teach people how to love us through how we love ourselves, and it just starts with, I know there's different thoughts and beliefs about, self-love and how it may feel like it's self-centered, but I do believe that it is a part of how we can be an extension to others. It starts with how we're showing up to ourselves and for ourselves as well.
Thank you. Renee, can you put your information in the chat for me? So we can have it, please. And then Stacy, same thing, put your information in the chat, but Stacy, give us the last word before you leave. You're on mute.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having this conversation. I was a hour late because I had some other priorities, but it's amazing to see richness. We had old couples and old people that have been in relationships for a long time. For me, my marriage only lasted 13 months before my husband was taken. So it's really good to listen to this dialogue, so that I can have it for myself, because one day I too may be married again. So this was an awesome, awesome conversation. And thank you again for having this.
Thank you. And we're going to have Stacy back. She's going to talk about her breast cancer foundation.
Yes. Yes,
So
ma'am.
we're going to have her back soon to talk
All
about
right.
that.
Yes.
Miss Latifa, we also want you to, so Stacy, put your information in the chat. Renee, put the
Okay.
name of the book, please, before you leave. And then Stacy, put the book and your information in chat, please.
Okay.
Miss Latifa, your last words, and then please put your
Well,
information
I'm
in
just
chat
going to
too.
read some, and thank you all. I mean, it was really, really just eye-opening. There were so many good points and comments, and thank you all for sharing. I appreciate that. I'm going to read just a little bit from the end of my book here, just a little bit, a couple paragraphs. We want the images of love we see on TV and in books, demonstrating love like it's a noun, but that's not real love. Real love is being and staying committed, even during the really tough times. Love is working and doing things we don't always enjoy. The hardship comes with putting in the work and making our relationship the best. Love is actively doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, despite other situations present. When we continue to express our love to our mate in a variety of ways and stay committed to each other, no matter how difficult it may get, this will aid in consistently strengthening our relationship. There will be dynamic and life changing moments, increasing love and happiness in ways we could not have ever imagined. Love and be loved. Be good to yourself. So I'll leave y'all with that. Alhamdulillah.
You.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Put that in the chat, please. Please, please, please put that in the chat. Yeah, I'm gonna do some hearts too. And Miss Martha, could you tell us when Miss Manira's program, Courtship and Marriage, when do you have that? Could you tell us when that is?
Yes, it's Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, and 4 p.m. your time. Pacific
On
Coast
the
time.
West Coast. Yes. Can you throw that in the chat for us as well too? While you
Okay,
do
sure
that,
shall.
thank you. I'm going to ask Brother Fleming. Brother Fleming, before you bring us out of here, can you tell us what we thank you, Miss Renee. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Brother Fleming, what we have on store for next week?
I'm going to concentrate on GOTV, Get Out the Vote. And we'll have some guests who are involved in that activity to share information with you. I wanted to also connect the dots for 2 seconds of our program this evening. I came up with RCCC, respect, commitment, courage,
What was the last C?
communication.
Oh, I love it. Respect, courage, commitment, communication. Love it. I love me a good acronym. And we're gonna follow that the following week with Sister Amatullah. I know you already have it up on the block, right? 1, 2, 3. December 1st. You're on mute.
Sorry. Brother Fleming has the first, I think, and I think you have
That's
the
right. It's back to back. Yeah,
right.
you have another program. Yeah.
My next program will be on December 15th and the 22nd.
Yes.
Will be a continuation with Imam Muhammad Abdul Alim, and we'll be talking about the Constitution and the Holy Quran and democracy and all of that good stuff. He's provided us with an e-document to go over those who have the time and want to, as well as recommending that we read Imam W.D. Muhammad's book on Islam and democracy. So I'll put my email in the chat, but you'll have to be patient. If you want to get the e-document, I can try and get it to you.
Thank you. And we are going to wrap up December. We are going to be bringing in, we're going to talk about finance. Everybody always talks about what they're going to do in the new year. You're lying to yourself about how I'm going to be better with money. So I'm going to bring in some experts to talk to you about your finances and insurance, finance, investing. And then we're going to wrap up the year, the end of the month, with a look back. We're going to look back, and then we're going to look forward. With that, Brother Fleming,
Hey.
pray us out of here.
Thank everyone for participating, and Allah bless each and every one of us with success and immeasurable blessings. I'm going to say the last surah in the Holy Quran in English, for the benefit of those who are just listening that don't speak Arabic. In the name of Almighty God, most gracious, most merciful. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord and cherisher of mankind, the King or ruler of mankind, the Allah judge of mankind, from the evil whisperer, the same who whispers into the hearts among man and jinn, then withdraws after his whisper. I mean.
That stay powerful, stay purposeful, stay purposeful, stay prayerful, stay politically engaged, participate civically, do something for someone else without the promise of anything in return. Don't look for the spotlight, don't look for kudos, don't look for pats on the back, don't post it anywhere. Just do it because it's the right thing to do. And we will see you back here, inshallah, next Monday. Same channel, 1 p.m. on that other coast. 12 noon in the middle. And 10 a.m. on the best coast. With that, it's a wrap. Peace and blessings.
Peace.
Peace out. I'll stop the recording. There's that. See ya when I see ya.
The live broadcast. Stop the live broadcast.